Welcome back to another episode of FHS Season Tickets. I'm Michael.
And I'm Nick, and today we're going to be talking about all the recent FHS sports events. First off, we got football, who unfortunately took the loss against Buckeye. Buckeye's just an extremely loaded team, has been every year. They started off pretty good. Defensive touchdown, which is always exciting. Home court advantage isn't really much now with the stands. It had just the student sections was pretty weak. But one good thing is JV did beat Buckeye, which is like a good sign for things to come. But I mean, it is JV, but it's just still exciting for the football program. Like a win against Buckeye, you don't really need to know if it's JV or varsity or not.
Yeah, I mean, the JV win was good too, but boys soccer had a huge game against Lutheran West, and unfortunately they lost 4-2, but the girls got a key victory, 3-2, over Lutheran West, looking like they are going to win the division title like Mary Beth guaranteed. What happened in the recent cross-country meet?
Yeah, those interviews were something special, but so we're going into cross-country now. The boys got 5th place, the girls got 15th, and it was just like a common, nothing crazy happened. Peter Butterfield did get 17, around in the 17-minute mark, and he still only got 3rd place. Connor coming in 1st place, and Momo 3rd, so that's rounding out the top 3. And it was really exciting. I don't really know Momo's and Connor's times, so I didn't announce them, but.
Yeah, 4 times, I think below 17:45, which is absolutely fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Connor, then Momo, then Peter,
Paul.
And then Paul coming in 4th. So some great times from cross-country teams. And now we're going to be talking about all the ranked versus ranked matchups that did happen in college football the past week. Alabama took on Ole Miss, and even though Ole Miss jumped out into a huge lead, Alabama stormed back, and they did get the victory, even though Ole Miss did make a pretty big comeback late on into the game, but Alabama did hang on. I'll talk about this a little bit more later on in the episode, but Nick, what happened when number 2 Florida State traveled to number 10 Louisville?
Yeah, really shocking outcome here. Florida State just getting demolished by Louisville, just getting absolutely ran through. Dalvin Cook couldn't get anything going. Young quarterback really showing that he's really young. Lamar Jackson proved the hype, at least against number 2 Florida. So I don't really think there's any doubting Lamar Jackson, at least in the college level. I'm not so sure about people thinking he's going to do great in the NFL. Again, he's been doubted before. He could outcome it. But just a super freak athlete, super gaudy numbers by Lamar Jackson. This guy is a bona fide college football all-star, definitely for sure. And just Florida State, I don't know. We're going to have to see if Louisville is that good or is Florida State just that bad.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson is now a 6-5 favorite to win the Heisman Trophy. I don't think he's an NFL quarterback at all, but he's definitely the favorite to win the Heisman Trophy this year so far. And also Ohio State traveled to Norman, Oklahoma, took on the Sooners, and they absolutely demolished them. A crazy catch by Ohio State, just catch of the year probably so far. And also Ohio State just looked way more talented. I expected them to be more talented, but the one thing Ohio State did, they kept their composure, they were smart, and they just played fantastic all around the whole game. Never made any stupid mistakes to let Oklahoma back into it, and dominated from start to finish to get a nice road victory in Norman. Yeah,
Ohio State just looked super athletic, super freaky, and that's just a young team there. And heading into the last huge matchup that I'm covering was Notre Dame, Michigan State. It was supposed to be a clash. Another young team in Notre Dame. Michigan State just also young, just not as good as usual. But Notre Dame just came out really flat. This is going to be something that happens almost every game. It's not just these miscues, these long bombs for long yardage because of the weak secondary. This is not like an abnormal of Notre Dame. They're just going to have an off year this year. It's just going to have to be accepted by Notre Dame fans, me alike. So just the young team also suffered some injuries. Notre Dame's just not going to have the most fantastic year. Michigan State, though, they look good. They're not going to be a top 10 team, I don't think. They let Notre Dame come back. It's just not – I just don't think these two teams are going to be primed for a playoff bid at all. So, Mike, are you ready to go next topic?
Yeah, but one more thing about the Notre Dame versus Michigan State game. Notre Dame's game against Texas, which looked like a really high-level football game. There might have been some poor coverage, which led to some of the touchdowns, but some great quarterback play. Texas did actually lose to Cal. We'll talk about that some more later on in the episode. So maybe that game wasn't at such a high level that we did once think it was. And also, Michigan State definitely looked great throughout the first 2.5 quarters, but the final 1.5 definitely did not leave me convinced.
Yeah, I don't know about great. I mean, Notre Dame I feel like was just miscues on miscues, bad, not enough talent. Like, I don't know if that's really showing in Michigan State. More of Notre Dame's just not the high level that we once thought in the beginning of the year.
Yeah, Michigan State dominated in the trenches. Notre Dame still doesn't have a sack this year, and their secondary is very inexperienced and not the best. So, yeah, like you said, definitely going to be a rough year in South Bend. And now we're going into a segment where we're going to be debating some things, and the first thing we're going to be talking about is college football coaches being really weak and not having enough balls late in the games. That's just my personal opinion. These guys are going to kind of correct me and also disagree and provide their opinion on what I am about to say, but I think that college football coaches have been very weak throughout the first couple weeks of the college football season. I'm going to give you a couple examples right now. We start off Alabama versus Ole Miss. Ole Miss jumps out to a huge lead against Alabama, 24-3. They also jump out to a huge lead against Florida State. And once they do this, Hugh Freeze becomes very passive. In each game, they averaged over 9 yards every time they threw the ball, and in each game under 5 yards every time they run the ball. And right when they're getting these huge leads, they're trying to run the ball to milk the clock. That's not how Ole Miss can play. They need to keep trying to throw the ball, try and get a 40-point lead, because that's probably the only point that if I'm Hugh Freeze, I'm starting to run the ball and milk the clock. And then later on in the game, Ole Miss gets a touchdown, gets an onside kick, gets another touchdown on the very next play, and then they kick the ball off to Alabama with 2.5 minutes to go. That just makes no sense to me. You just got an onside kick. You have all the momentum in the world. You can't stop Alabama on the run. Alabama is averaging over 7 yards a carry, and you think your defense is going to get a stop in the final 2.5 minutes so you can get the ball back? I didn't think it was going to happen. I tweeted out right when Ole Miss kicked off the ball that they were going to lose. What are your thoughts about Hugh Freeze?
Yeah, the thing about that theory, though, is the passing the ball. You need the run to set up the pass. That's going to happen throughout the years. You'll always have to establish run first before you can get the pass. Maybe it's working. Maybe it's working in the first quarter, first half for the Ole Miss, keep on throwing the ball. But they, against that great Alabama defense, as stout as it is, the secondary is really good too. They're not going to be able to keep on passing without the run. Hugh Freeze recognized that. He needs to establish the run. All right, it's not working for him, but it's a good strategy going into it. And I agree with you at the late game antics. That seems like it's a regular for coaches going in. We'll talk about that more. But again, I think that theory about keep on passing the ball, get a 40-point lead, I don't think they ever let the foot off the gas pedal. I just think they wanted to set up the run, failed to do that, lost.
Peplin, do you have any different thoughts than Nick? Do you agree with him or me?
I like agreeing with you because I just feel like coaches are being too passive. I feel like they're just fearing about their job too much, fearing of just losing it. So they're just doing what
basically the simple thing, and they're not trying to win the game. They're trying not to lose the game. And other teams that tried to not lose the game instead of win the game was Michigan State versus Notre Dame. Michigan State jumped out to a huge lead, was just running and throwing the ball up and down the field against Notre Dame. And then right when it was 36-7, I said that I thought Notre Dame was going to come back. And Notre Dame did fight back all the way to 36-28 because, like I mentioned before, Michigan State really stopped trying to throw the ball. They kept getting into third and long situations and just punting the ball right back to Notre Dame. And also, Notre Dame had to open up the playbook, and they started taking some more deep shots. That started working for them. When coaches are getting desperate, they're making a ton of comebacks. But then Brian Kelly calls a timeout to punt the ball. That was one of the most astonishing things I've ever seen. So you're down 8 points with 2.5 minutes to go. It's 4th and 9. Kaiser took a really bad sack, I do believe, on the last play. And you call a timeout. And then instead going for it and giving yourself a chance to win the game, or taking a delay of game penalty and then punting the ball and keeping all 3 of your timeouts, you call a timeout, then punt the ball back to Michigan State. So they only need 2 first downs to run out the clock on you. They get to 2 first downs. Notre Dame doesn't get the ball back. I tweeted right when Notre Dame punted that they weren't going to win. I thought they should have gone for it. Peplin, would you have gone for it in that situation?
I would have gone for it. Being desperate calls for desperate measures. It causes you to do some things that you're not used to. So sometimes it could be good. Sometimes it could be really bad.
Yeah, I mean, Nick? I think that with the momentum, having that comeback, 4th and down, in your home stadium, you're gonna have the momentum. You're gonna have a higher chance of cleaning those 4th downs. I also think college football is always crazy. There's always that things that just happen, and that comeback could have been one of those things. I think they should have definitely went for it. I mean, hindsight is 20/20, but I definitely think it would have been a better move to go for it on 4th down.
And obviously,
in that
you're a Notre
situation.
Dame fan, so you probably have a stronger opinion than some people.
Yeah,
if I'm
watch
a
that
Vanderbilt fan, I'm not going for it in that situation because I know we can't pass the ball, and I know Notre Dame has Deshaun Kaiser,
Yeah.
who's a top 5 draft pick
Yeah.
in next year's class.
And I'm not trusting that defense right now
Yeah.
the way they're playing.
Not at all.
Not trusting that. So
You're trusting a defensive line with 0
I mean, they had
sacks
2 good
all
stops,
season.
but that's the 2 that they had all. That's the only 2 good stops they had all game, 3 and outs. So I'm thinking that Deshaun Kaiser, I'm going to pin my hopes on him, not my defense. Yeah, I'm going for it.
Now we're going to go into another game where Coach decided to go for it. Iowa versus North Dakota State. I kind of saved this for this moment. Iowa is up 7. North Dakota State scores a touchdown. They go for 2 with 3.5 minutes left in the game. They don't get it. But since it was a low-scoring game, Iowa and North Dakota State struggled to move the ball. North Dakota State got the ball back, and even though they missed a 2-point conversion, they got the victory. So kind of showing that being aggressive did help them, even though they missed when they were being aggressive. They didn't get the 2-point conversion. Really interesting how North Dakota State was aggressive. It didn't pay out when they were aggressive, but they still got the victory. I think that if they would have kicked the extra point, best case scenario is they go into overtime because I think Iowa tries to score instead of trying to run out the clock. I think Iowa definitely played that very poorly. With 3.5 minutes to go, you get the ball back. I definitely think you need to keep running your offense instead of just run the clock out. Do you guys have any thoughts on that game?
Yeah, I'm just thinking that North Dakota State was aggressive. It worked out for them. Again, that's different, just completely different experiments, completely different than these other games. So many variables that were acting upon it. So you can't judge that being aggressive will always work and being passive will never work out for you. But I also just don't think Iowa should ever be in that situation. Top 10 team last year. Should not lose ever to an FCS school, even if they're continued champions like North Dakota State is. But again, I mean, aggressiveness did work out for them in this scenario. We'll see what happens going further in college football.
North Dakota State is a fantastic FCS program, and I don't know why Iowa scheduled this game. It seems like a lose-lose
Trap
situation.
game. Mm-hmm.
It was definitely a trap game, like you said. I mean, I don't understand scheduling it. It's an FCS school, so people are going to look at your resume, and if you win, oh, it's just an FCS school. If you lose, you lost to an FCS school, and that FCS school could probably beat maybe a third, if not more, of the FBS schools. Texas is playing Cal, and they have the ball 3rd and 2, I do believe, and Shane Buechele does get sacked, and on 4th down, Charlie Strong decides to punt the ball to a team that scored 50 points on his defense with 2.5 minutes to go. I totally disagree with this move to trust a defense that's given up 50 points. Peplin, are you punting it or going for it on 4th and 9, considering it is in your own territory?
I'm punting it.
Punting it?
You just gotta have faith in your defense. That's the only way your defense can get a stop if your head coach believes in you. So, yeah, I would just punt it and just try and just get a stop.
Nick, are you punting it or are you going for it like me?
Yeah, I mean, first off, I'm going to preface this where I don't have as much time as my co-host over here or energy to stay up till 2:30 a.m. to watch this game, this Texas versus Cal. So I'm not the most expert on this game, but I'm thinking I'm going to agree. I'm going to punt it. What was this, a tie game, Mike?
Texas was down 7 with 2.5 minutes to go.
Down 7, okay. That changes it up a little bit. I'm thinking I'm going for it, actually. I mean, I just never have faith in defenses. 2.5 minutes to go to get that quick of a stop. First downs usually come easy when it's that much of a crunch time for me. So, yeah, I'm going for it. But, again, I wasn't up till 2:30 a.m., so I can't really speak on it.
I was only up because I took the over on my Twitter account. Make sure you follow my Twitter account. My betting picks were very below average, but I still went 8-7. Got the
Rachel or
victory on that
Fhs
one.
Season Tickets?
FHS Season Ticket. I make all the betting on that. Went 8-7 this week, so pretty average week for me. I did get the over. It didn't matter about that. Already had the over cashed in. You already know I'm money on my Vegas bets. But now we're going into something that happened after Texas decided to punt. Cal did actually take a run to the house, and the dude dropped the ball at the 1-yard line. Do any of you know? This also happened in the Oklahoma versus Ohio State game,
that
and
was
nobody caught it.
Yes, yeah.
How is this happening, Christian? Do you have any idea?
Oh, I know how it's happening.
Everyone's they just want to dance. They want to do their touchdown dance. They want to just dab.
Yeah.
They're just so anxious to do that rather than score the touchdown.
Yeah, when you're that
Can you hear
great.
a dab right now?
When you're that creative an athlete, I mean, you're definitely going to have confidence. You're definitely going to think you're the top in the world. So you're definitely going to have that confidence, just like throw the ball away, showboat a little bit, like Joe Mixon doing it, and then the Texas player. They definitely were stud athletes in high school, had that mentality of I'm better than everyone else. They're going to throw that ball away. I just think that that's just like the level of where everyone's at right now in mentality, or at least these type of players are, especially wide receivers. I don't know. These guys seem like the cockiest.
Yeah, wide receivers are definitely
or running backs.
The cockiest people. Yeah, skill position players are definitely the cockiest.
Yeah.
But something that happened is that the Cal player dropped the ball, and 2 Texas players ran over it, and a third one grabbed it after about 3 seconds after the ball was dropped. And it was concluded that since there was no immediate recovery, the word immediate is really vague because you could kind of argue any fumble recovery that has a dog pile on it. Nobody has it for like 3 seconds, so maybe there's no immediate recovery there. Maybe there's never been a fumble recovery all time. So it's never immediate. But
that was such a loose definition.
The wording was really poor on that one. Do you guys think Texas should have gotten the ball on their own 20? Do you think that recovery was quick enough?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that Cal should have been rewarded for dropping the ball in the end zone like that. I always think the defense should get it if they have the mindset to get it. I mean, maybe if a whistle was blown or something, like, or maybe 33 seconds right after, definitely should have been in Texas at their own 20. So definitely should have been.
Do you think that should have been Texas ball, or do you think that since the whistle was kind of blown right like before the Texas player grabbed it, are you giving the ball to Cal at the 1?
I'm giving the ball to Cal at 1. The dude didn't officially score a touchdown, so.
Okay, so you're giving the ball to Cal at the 1. I'm not going to take a strong opinion on either side because last week we talked about the Oklahoma State Central Michigan. The play should have never happened. I'm not rewarding a team that's given up 50 points and then just punted the ball. They were weak. They punted the ball. They don't deserve anything because they were weak. So I'm not giving Texas any credit for that. Was it a bad call? Yes. But since Texas was weak, they don't deserve anything. Christian, we're now talking about the NFL. You're probably the biggest Browns fan out of the 3 of us. Can you tell me what happened in the Browns game?
First quarter, it was the Browns Stadium. It was jumping. Even I was there with my friends. We were going crazy.
Christian was there. That's
crazy. Everyone was healthy. Well, not everyone was healthy. Josh McCown was healthy, which was the X factor basically, and Cameron Irving. And as soon as everything was going well, Corey Coleman was scoring at will. Josh McCown was making some nice throws, and then as soon as McCown he slid, and then he took a late hit, which no flag was thrown. I feel like that was kind of a
momentum swing, really.
Yeah, because McCown got hurt after that, and then Cameron Irving bruised long.
Yeah, definitely a sad situation.
D-line, just too much for Browns O-line.
Yeah, of course it was another Cleveland move. Cleveland lost. But down 20, or up 20 in the first quarter.
You're used to saying down 20.
Yeah, down 20, yeah. Up 20, actually. 20-0. That's crazy. Corey Coleman, I mean, it's like a good sign to see all these young players showing out. Potentially a great wide receiving core when Josh Gordon comes back, and if he can keep his head on straight. I mean, that will be a really cool wide receiving core to see. Corey Coleman, Terrell Pryor, and Josh Gordon all together. I just think, another Browns loss, but it was something positive to take away from it, but also being up 20 and losing is not also a positive situation. We're all hoping for tanking for a quarterback this year. I mean, it's a good to see a loss, I guess. We're at that mindset now. But I mean, I would have liked to win. I would have liked to go 116 and that win be against Baltimore. I mean, win of you guys, or 115.
Yeah,
that win loss be against
115.
Yeah, with the Baltimore win, Baltimore win. I don't want to lose when we're up 20. Like, that's just not a good sign of where the program is at, you know.
Yeah, you mentioned something, talking about the wide receivers. I'm super excited about the wide receivers that the Browns do have. Drafting Corey Coleman, a great play, and also Terrell Pryor and Josh Gordon, looking exciting if Josh Gordon can stay on the field. But speaking of Terrell Pryor, there was that was very questionable. I
think that was bogus.
Yeah, that was bogus.
Definitely agree. That was totally bogus. So, Peplin, you were at the game. What was the stadium's reaction when they made the flag?
It was just...
Was that replay being played on
everyone was just going nuts. Everyone was just booing. You know, typical people feeling their feelings just being brought up about a terrible call from the officials. And another thing, Carl Nassib, he's been playing pretty well as a rookie, third round pick. his hand, something went wrong with his
Yeah.
hand. He just went to surgery today.
Yeah,
Hopefully he
all
comes
these young
back.
players.
And Joe Hayden with 2 picks.
Yeah,
Shout
Joe
out to
finally showing
him
something.
coming back
yeah.
from that ankle surgery.
Yeah, definitely.
Pro
the
Bowl
Browns-
self, yeah.
The Browns players were looking pretty solid
Yeah.
on Sunday, but also, like you mentioned, just a horrible call. I don't know why officials are so quick to make
Yeah.
those. What was it? Unsportsmanlike
Taunting.
contact or taunting?
Yeah, taunting.
Taunting by tossing a ball to the ref. I can't show you the video because NFL's copyright is ridiculous, but you guys can find it on the internet.
Easily.
Yeah, you definitely just look up Terrell Pryor taunting versus the Ravens. But the final thing we are going to be talking about is the Patriots and Broncos quarterbacks. They just keep seeming to produce. Even with the third-string quarterback in Jacoby Brissett, the New England Patriots had no trouble beating the Miami Dolphins. And also Trevor Siemian, a guy who threw more interceptions than touchdowns in his senior year at Northwestern, has the Broncos at 2-0.
I think
Has
he's
this
impressive.
NFL season devalued the quarterback and overvalued quarterback systems? What do you guys think?
I don't think it's quarterback systems. I think it's systems in general. The franchises that are going to win the NFL, that have that type of leadership, the ownership, the coaching, those are the type of teams that are going to win. Denver, they have Jim Elway, John Elway. They have John Elway at the helm. They have a great defense, which always helps out the quarterback. I mean, if you're sitting on that defense, you're gonna do well usually. Doesn't matter who you are, quarterback. So yeah, it's more of a system, not quarterback system league. I mean, the franchise is gonna win it. You always hear about the Steelers. You always hear about the Patriots. I mean, the Browns could be more talented than the Steelers, and the Steelers will end up winning more games. It's just gonna happen. So it's just all about the franchise. I really just think that franchise in the NFL is really what dictates your success.
Peplin, what do you think about this?
I don't think the quarterbacks are being devalued. I think it's just like the players around them. It's like mutual because the players around them are like putting them in positions to make them strive, and they're actually like, what would you say? They're actually like meeting those like.
Expectations.
Yeah, those expectations and they're actually fulfilling their bargain on their part.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like Broncos defense just helps out whoever the quarterback is
Easily.
because it just puts them in the best field possession because you have Von Miller and the Marcus Ware chasing after you, let alone with Derek Wolfe.
Yeah, the Broncos defense is just ridiculous.
D-line
Even though they
is-
lost a couple people in the offseason,
they're
that
so
just speaks to
deep.
last
Yeah.
year, how great they actually were. We had some really good discussions on this show today. Really enjoyed recording it, and that will wrap it up for this episode of FHS Season Tickets. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like and also subscribe for more FHS Season Ticket videos.
And if you ever see any videos on this channel, Durantula FC, that's my co-host over here trying to be a snake about it and posting uploads. So just go dislike that video and just give a view to the FHS Season Ticket channel. Subscribe.